Hello everyone, in this video we're going to create simple form here, but the good thing is this form is work, and as you can see here my email is empty, right? And if I put the information here, let's say John Doe for the full name, the email let's say john@gmail.com, the role let's say backend, and the message let's put this is a message, let's say from John. Okay, so if I click send, as you can see here in the network, still pending here, and as you can see this is a post request and status code is 200, and the payload that we send is email, full name, message, and the role. And as you can see now in my inbox here, we have email from John Doe, and as you can see here, hello Chandev, you got a new message. And this is the message, the email, and the role. Alright, so we're gonna use email.js basically. So with email.js we can send email directly from a JavaScript, so we don't need to use a server, and we can just create a front end and we can use email.js to send the form in our email here. Alright, so if this is free, of course this is a free, as you can see here. Can I use email.js for free? It's absolutely. You can send up to 200 email per month completely for free. Alright, so, and of course we're gonna use tailwind for the styling here. This is a responsive. If I open in a mobile, it's gonna be look like this, pretty cool. And yeah, this is what we are going to be building, and let's get started. Alright, so in here I have already created a React app, as you can see here. And the first thing that what we need to do is we need to set up the tailwind CSS. Let's go to tailwindcss.com, click get started, and let's click the start learning and select the create React app here. And you can just copy everything here, but I'm gonna use yarn by the way, so I can copy this package and go here, let's say yarn, add, paste that right here and enter. And of course we need to install the Croco as well, so let's just copy this and let's say yarn, add, paste that in here and hit enter. Alright, so it's done. Now let's go back to the Tailwind CSS documentation here, and we are going to change the React script here with Croco. So we can just copy this one here, and let's go back to package.json file, and this thing here I'm going to Control D and paste the Croco right there. Alright, so let's create the croco.config.js file. So we can go right here and let's create that. Let's say croco.config.js file, and we can just copy everything here and put that right here and save. Let's go back again, and after we finish this we should have tailwind.config.js file here, and we need to just copy this purge here and let's put that here, paste that in right there and save. And now we can just include the tailwind in our CSS. I'm going to put that into the index.js file here. I want to remove everything here. Let's paste that here, and now it should be work. And let's try to go to app.js file, and of course I'm going to remove the file that we don't need. So logo here, test, setup, report with vitals, and app.css. I'm gonna remove everything. And now the logo here, let's remove that, and the header, I'm gonna remove everything here. So let's put h1, let's say hello, save, and let's go to index.js file. I'm gonna remove the report web vital here and everything down here, and let's try to save, and let's say yarn start. Alright, so we have some error here. That's because this should be Crackle, not Croco. We can rename that. Let's say Crackle. Let's do that again here. Let's say yarn start, and it's gonna be running the Croco start. And as you can see now, the localhost 3000 will be starting. And here we go. We have hello right here. Now let's try to working in app.js file. So let's try use the tailwind CSS class in h1 here. I'm gonna put class name set that equals to, let's say text for XL, and I'm gonna save, and here we go. Everything is work, and we can just remove this class name app here. So let's add class name here. I'm going to put Hake into screen. Hake screen is basically Hake 100 view Hake here, and inside this 100 view Hake class here, I'm going to add div, and this div is basically a grid. I'm going to put grid here, and let's create a 2 column. So grid column 2, and inside this grid, I'm going to create 2 div, left and right for now, so you can see the result in the browser. And also I'm going to add maybe background color to something like red or something, and down here I'm going to add maybe blue background, let's say blue. And if I save, now as you can see in the browser, we have the right and left and right and right. Okay, so if I open that in a mobile, it's going to be look like this. It's always 2 column. Okay, we don't need that. We need to, the design here will be responsive, so we need to implement this grid into large screen. So we can just add LG right there, large, like so. And if I save, now the grid will be implemented just in the large and extra large screen. So if I on the small here, as you can see, it's gonna be 1 column. All right, so that's how we work with responsive. And also I'm going to add a gap here. So large gap, let's say 6 basically 1.5 rem, you can see right here. And also I'm gonna add the, let's say background blue, let's say blue 300. And also I'm gonna add the large, let's say Hake into, let's say 2/3, that's, which is 66.667%. All right, so let's change this to maybe yellow. And if I save, as you can see now, this is 66% of the Hake. We know the Hake is 100 view Hake, all right? So the next thing is I'm going to put content inside the live here. And here I'm going to put a paragraph first, and let's say contact us. So down here I'm going to add h1, let's say let's talk about you. All right, so in here, instead of background red, I'm going to remove this. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the text here, the contact us and h1 here into the center here. So we can do display flex to do that. So we can see flex. Let's just remove the quote and then type that again. So we can see the suggestion in here, as you can see. So I'm going to put flex, and let's say the flex, I'm going to say flex column. And let's say the justify content center, and let's say text into center. Okay, the text align. So if I save, now the content will be in the center right here. So in large screen, I'm going to add the padding to 40, and also for the medium, I'm going to add the text into left. All right, so if I save, let's take a look. This is what we have, and also this is a responsive, as you can see here. So next, let's styling this contact us, which is the paragraph right here. I'm going to add the class name set that equals to, let's say uppercase, and I'm going to add the font medium, which is font weight 500. You can see directly the CSS right here. And also I'm going to change the opacity to 40, and then text gray, let's say 500. So if I save, let's take a look. This is what we have. Pretty cool. And for the H1, let's styling that here. Let's say class name set that equals to, in large, I'm going to say text 6x all. That's which is font size is 3.75 RAM. And I'm also say in the medium, let's say text, I'm going to put 5XL here, and for the small, I'm going to put text 4XL. Okay, and if I save, we have this one here, and if I go in the large, we get this one, and there we go. All right, so next let's create another folder here. I'm going to create components folder, and let's add a file called, let's say, ContactForm.js file. And in here I'm going to generate functional pass component. So let's put a form here, and let's close the package. Krakow here, tailwind config, index, and we need to import this ContactForm component into the app.js file. So I'm going to remove the div with right content here. So in here I'm going to say ContactForm, and as you can see up here, it's going to be auto import from component ContactForm. So if I save, now we should see form here. Okay, so let's go to ContactForm component. So in here I'm going to add the class name set equals to, and for the large style I'm going to add margin top into 48, which is as you can see here 12 RAM. And also I'm going to add the margin right into 48 as well. And also I'm going to add padding top into 6 and padding bottom into 8. All right, let's add the background white so we can see the component right here, and I'm going to add the shadow into shadow XL, basically this one here. All right, so let's click here, and now we should have the shadow. And also I'm going to add a rounded in here, so let's add the class, let's say rounded. If I save, and this is what we have. Okay, pretty cool. So in here I'm going to add form HTML tag. Let's remove the action, we don't need that. And inside this form I'm going to add the h3, let's say send us message, and let's styling that, say class name set it equals to, the text I'm going to say text gray 700, and I'm going to say margin top to 7, and the text, let's make it a little bigger, so let's add the font size 1.25 RAM. And also I'm going to say font, let's say semi bold. Okay, if I save, now it's gonna be look like this. All right, pretty cool. So let's add the padding here. So I'm going to add padding, let's say padding 5, which is 1.25 RAM. And if I save, and here we go. Cool. So under the h3 here, let's create the input field. So in order to create the input field in here, I'm going to create another component to do that. So we can just import and put the component in here. So let's create another component here. Let's give a name InputField.js file. So in here, rfce, and hit enter. And let's say input field, save, and let's go back to ContactForm, and let's say input field. And if I save, we should see the input field here. Okay. All right. So in here, I'm going to create a class name set it equals to. Let's add the margin bottom to 5, and inside this div, I'm going to add the label, and then let's say full name, and then in here I'm gonna add the class name to styling the label. All right, so we can just say text gray. I want to say 500, and also I'm going to say text small. All right, so if I save, this is what we have, and I'm going to add the input down here. So let's say input. All right, so in here I'm going to add the class name, so that equals to, I'm going to put the border bottom 2, and if I save, let's take a look at what we have. We need to refresh, and here we go. So we need to also remove the outline, let's say none. Let's change the text color, this text gray, into 700, and also I'm going to set the width into full, which is 100%, and change the background to gray, let's say 100, and also the height I'm going to put that into 10, and also the padding horizontally I'm going to put into 2. So now let's save and let's take a look. This is what we have. All right, so let's go back here, and I'm going to add a require here. Say require, set it into true, and then let's go back to ContactForm. We need to use this input field for full name and email, so let's copy and paste that. If I save, we have two field now, but the problem is the label is same. So let's send the label as a property here. So I'm gonna send the label, so that equals to full name for this one, and down here let's say label, set that equals to, let's say email for this email, and also I'm gonna send the, let's say the name, set equals to full name, and also the type, let's set equals to text, and also the placeholder, so that equals to, let's say John Doe. Okay, and down here we need to send the name, set that equals to email, and type, set that equals to email, and placeholder, let's say john@example.com. All right, so now we need to grab all the props in input field here. So I'm gonna grab that, so say props, and I'm gonna destructuring the props right here. So I'm gonna grab the label, let's say label, the name, and let's say type, and the value. You don't yet send the value, but for now let's put everything here, and we need to change this label here into the label come from the props, like so, and we need to change this type into type from the props. Let's say let's say type, and what else we need to change? Of course the value, so we need to put the value here. Let's say value set equals to value, and this HTML4 I'm going to remove that and put that the name here, and also we need to put the name in here in the input, so name set that equals to name. All right, so now save, and let's take a look in the browser. Here we go, now we have the full name, and also we have the email. All right, pretty cool. So in here I'm going to create the state to handle the full name, email, the role, and the message. Let's say cons, say values, and set values, set that equals to use state. Just import from React, you make sure you import up here, and in here I'm going to put the default value, full name, set it to empty string, let's say email, set to empty string, and also the role, empty string, and message is also empty string. So down here I'm going to try to console.log the values, and if I take a look in the browser, let's open the inspect console here, let's make it bigger, and as you can see it's object, and if I put any value in this input field, as you can see nothing happened in the console. That's because we don't handle the onChange event in input field here, so we need to handle that. Alright, so let's create the function here. I'm gonna give a name handle change, set that equals to, let's put the event right here, and in here I'm going to set the values into, I'm gonna grab the previous values. So let's say I'm gonna return object here. So in here what I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab all the previous values, and I'm going to grab the label. So I'm gonna say e.target.name. okay, e.target.name is basically the name right here. Just make sure you have same name and same state here. So in here I'm going to put the e.target.value. okay, so now we need to put this handle change into this input field. So we need to put here handle change, set that equals to handle change, and down here as well handle change, set that equals to handle change. And let's go back to input field, and we need to send the handle change here. So let's say handle change, and we need to put that in here as well. Let's say on change, of course. Wait, let's say on change, that equals to handle change. All right, so if I save and let's take a look here, and if I put a name here, as you can see the full name is updated and the email right here, and if I remove, it's gonna be gone. All right, so pretty cool. Let's go back here. So next, let's remove this React here, and I'm going to create another file in this component, which is select, let's say SelectField, SelectField.js file, and in here let's say rafce and remove the React up here, and let's say select, save, and let's go back to ContactForm. We need to import that in here. Let's say SelectField, and just make sure you import up here. Okay, so if I save, now we should see select. So let's work with SelectField component here. So first let's grab the props here, and I'm going to destructuring the props value. Let's say label, handle change, and also the name. It's gonna be come from the props object. Right, so in here I'm going to add the class name set equals to margin bottom set to 5, and let's remove this select here. I'm going to put a label, and this label have the HTML form for a name, and I'm going to put the label variable in here, and also I'm going to add the class name to styling this label. Let's say class name set that equals to, let's say text gray 500, and also text small, text dash small, yeah. And down here I'm going to open the select tag from the HTML, and I'm gonna remove the ID here. Let's change the name into name come from the props, and in here I'm going to put the on change set that equals to the handle change. All right, and I'm going to put the default value set equals to role, and also let's put the class name set that equals to, I'm going to put the width into full, which is 100%, and also I'm going to put the border dash bottom 2, and also the padding vertically into 2, which is 0.5 rem, and I'm going to remove the outline, say outline none. So if I save and let's take a look down here, of course we need to put the option. All right, so let's say option, and the value is going to be role for the first, let's say role, and up here I want to say choice rule, and I'm gonna put the disable to true in here. Let's say disable, because user cannot choose a rule, right, as value, because role is not a value we need to send into this state here. So let's go back and need to create another option, and this is going to be the, let's say, front end, and the text is going to be front end, and I'm going to add the class name here, set that equals to, let's say, padding vertically to 1. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to change the value here into backend, and let's remove this text here into backend, and this thing here should be the key A, and let's remove this, change into key A, and let's try to save, and let's take a look. And by the way, why the choice rule is not showing in the first time, that's because in default value we should change this into the lowercase r, just role, same with this value. And if I load, as you can see, we have choice rule. Alright, the label is not showing up because we don't yet send any property into this component, just SelectField component here. So let's send the handle change, set that equals to handle change, and we need to also send the name, set that equals to role, and we need to send the label set that equals to role. Okay, so if I save, now this is what we have. We have the role here and choice role, front end, back key A, back end, and also as you can see the choice role is disabled because we set that in here. All right, cool. So next, let's create another component for the text area. So let's create another file. Let's say text area field.js file. Let's generate RAFCE and remove the React up here, and just put the text area here. And let's go back to ContactForm. We need to render in here. Let's say text area field, and we should see the text area. Here we go. So next, let's send couple property in this text area field. We need to change the handle change, set that equals to handle change, and also we need to send the label, set that equals to your message here. It's gonna be lowercase. All right. And let's go to text area field. We need to grab the props again, and in here we are going to destructuring the props value, and let's grab the handle change and label. Okay, let's remove this text area. We need to put the label here. HTML4 is gonna be the name. We don't yet send the name, right? So let's go back here. Where's that? Right here. We need to send the name. So the name is gonna be message. It's gonna be string message. And let's go back here. We need to grab the name, and also let's render the label in here. Let's say label. And also give a styling, right? So let's say class name, set that equals to the text gray 500, and also text small. All right, so down the label we need to render the text area. So the name is gonna be name. So let's remove this ID and column, and I'm gonna create the row into, let's say, 4. And let's add the styling. So class name, set that equals to, the width is gonna be 100%, and the border bottom 2, and also the outline none, and also the background gray 100, and the padding is gonna be 0.5 rem. All right, I think we're done here. Let's see. Oh, we need to put the on change, right? So let's say on change, set it equals to handle change. All right, so let's go into the browser, and here we go. Pretty cool. Very fresh here. We have choice, role, message, email, and full name. All right, so cool. So now let's try to see the state in the console here. Let's say chandev. We have chandev for the full name. Email, let's say chan@gmail.com. We have chan@gmail.com down here. Role, I'm gonna say front end. As you can see, front end here. And this is a message. Also, we get this is a message. So the next thing now, what we need to do is add the button here. As you can see, we don't have the button to send this information. Let's go back to ContactForm. We need to create button down here. So let's render the button tag, and for the text, let's say send. And also I'm gonna add a couple class name in here. So let's say margin top to 4, and I'm gonna change the background to gray. 900, which is really dark here. And also I'm going to change the text into gray. Let's say 200, and also rounded. And if I hover the button, I need to change the background into gray 700. And also I'm going to add the padding horizontally to 4, and also the padding vertically into 2. And I'm going to, if I focus in the button, I want to set the outline to none. All right, so if I save and let's take a look, as you can see here, pretty cool. If I hover, we have the effect, and this type is gonna be submit. We don't have yet. So let's add in here. Let's say type submit, and also in form here I want to say on submit, set it equals to, let's say handle submit function, and we need to create this handle submit down here. Say cons handle submit, set it equals to arrow function, and I'm going to set the prevent default in here. So e.prevent default. Okay, because I don't need the browser reload every time I click the send here. So another thing that I'm going to show you is how we can use icon in Tailwind. So as you can see here in Tailwind Labs heroIcons, and we can just simply put the SVG in here, or you can use component. Okay, so we are going to use this component here. So I'm going to copy this package, and let's open new terminal, and I'm going to paste that in here and hit enter. All right, now it's done. Let's go back to the GitHub heroIcons here, and to use that we can just simply go to Tailwind here, and as you can, oh no this one, I mean this heroicon.com, and as you can see here, there's a lot of beautiful icon, and the icon what we are going to use is this icon here. You can just copy the JSX, but in this video I'm going to show you how we can use the component. So let's browse the full list of icon name, and what the icon I'm going to use is basically the chevron right icon. Where is that? This thing here. Okay, we can just copy and put that in here like so. So we need to import that, so I can go back and let's just copy this one here and go to very top and like so, and it's gonna be chevron right icon. Okay, this one here. And if I save and let's take a look, here we go. So we need to styling that. We can use class with tailwind basically in here. So you can say width into 6, and also I'm going to say margin left to 2 and float right. So if I save and let's take a look, here we go, beautiful. All right, so what next we need to do is we need to make sure this form work. Okay, so this is the best part, I think. So let's go to the handle submit here. And the first thing that I'm going to showing you is let's go to email.js.com. Let's go to documentation here. If you're using React, you can just simply use this example here. As you can see, they're using useref basically, and you don't have to handle the value. You don't have to use onChange in here because the example here using ref, as you can see here, and they use form.current. But in my case, just this project, we are gonna use the email.js.send. So let's just copy everything here and put that in handle submit here. Okay, you just make sure you import email.js from email.js. I think we don't yet install. Copy this everything here and go to terminal and paste that in here and hit enter. I have problem with npm, so I can use yarn basically in here. So say yarn add email.js, say email.js.com and hit enter. Alright, so it's done. Let's go to the React here. We can just copy this import and go to up here. Let's put it in here, and we're using the email.js in here, right? Send, and service ID is basically this one. I'm gonna copy this and put into my code, and template ID is basically this email template. How to copy that? I don't know, but let's copy from here and paste that in here. And template param is basically this value here, so I can just copy this, put that in here. And user ID, let's go to integration and we have the user ID in here. Let's just copy everything here and put in here. All right, wait, something wrong? Here we go. So next, let's handle the promise in here. So I'm going to do .then and we get the response. So in here, I'm going to console.log, let's say success, and I'm going to console log the response as well in here. And down here, if something wrong, I'm gonna grab the error and let's console log the error as well. So let's say failed to ... here and the error. Okay, so now save and let's trying to sending email. So I'm gonna close this terminal here, make it small, and let's take a look in the final project here. Let's refresh, open the network. Albert, say email, let's say albert at gmail.com. The role is going to be front end, my message here. Okay, if I click send, as you can see here in the network, still pending. And then as you can see, the status 200, and then status code 200, which is everything is work. And as you can see in the console, we have success. Okay, pretty cool. Now we should have new message again. As you can see here, come from Albert, and here we go. Pretty cool. So we need to remove the value here. And as you can see now in the React here, the value is not back to empty string, so we need to handle that in here. So I'm going to set the values: full name empty string, email empty string, role empty string, and also the message empty string. All right, and another thing that I'm going to create in here is the alert in here. After I send and if I success, I'm going to showing alert in here. It's like your message submit successfully. It's something like that. So I think I'm going to render in here. So let's say render alert, and let's create this function. I'm going to create down here. Let's say const render alert set equals to arrow function in here, and I'm going to return JSX in here. Okay, so let's put a div, and inside, let's put a div, and inside div I'm going to put paragraph and put this message here, and in this div let's styling that with tailwind, and let's say padding horizontally to 4, padding vertically to 3, and say leading, let's say normal, and I'm gonna change the text to blue 700, and also the background, let's say blue 100, and also rounded, and also margin bottom to 5. Okay, so now save, and let's take a look here. Pretty cool. Let's see in the full screen, it's gonna be a look like this. So let's put that into center, so I can just add text center, I think. Yeah, text center, and here we go. Pretty cool. So now we need to add some condition here, so I'm going to put status and here. So status is basically a state we are gonna create up here. So let's say const status set status use what happened, use state by default, let's say empty string, and after we successfully in here, I'm going to set the status to, for example, let's say success. All right, if I save, and let's take a look again. So let's try, say gems email gems@gmail.com. I don't know, but, and the message, hi Chan, how are you? So let's send. I click send, and as you can see, your message submitted successfully. And if I see in my email here, we have one come from James, and hey Chan, how are you? Pretty cool. And the problem now is the alert here is not, it's still in here. Okay, we need to remove that. So let's go back here. We need to use effect in here. So I'm going to use effect. You should import from React, and then the dependency of this use effect is basically the status. And let's see, inside this use effect, what we need to do is we need to check first if the status is equals to success. All right, we need to run set timeout in here. Okay, the timeout is, let's say 3000, which is 3 seconds. And then inside in here, I'm going to set the status back to empty string. Okay, so now save, and let's take a look in the browser. All right, so let's make it bigger, and I'm going to inspect and see the console here. Let's remove everything, and I'm going to back to inbox so you can see if I have new message. So it's gonna be come from Olivia, and the email is olivia@olive.com, and the role is backend, and the message is I love you John, I love you too Olivia. Let's send. If I send, and as you can see, your message submitted successfully after 3 seconds is gone, but the value here is not back into empty string. But let's see in the inbox here, I have an email from Olivia, and they say I love you John. So let's just fix this problem here. I think we need to send the value in this input field here. So let's go here and I'm gonna say value set it equals to values dot full name, and for this input field here, let's say value set equals to values dot email, and for the text area, let's send the value and values dot message. And let's save and go into input field here, and I'm going to grab the value. Oh, we have already do that in here in text area field. So let's put value, and we need to put in here, let's say value set equals to value. All right, so let's try that again. Refresh. So let's remove all the inbox in here. So let's remove that. So let's put email in here. The email is going to be email@gmail.com, and the role front end, and the message is this is my message. And if I click send, as you can see now the alert didn't appear, and then the value is gone. Okay, pretty cool. I think we're done with this simple project, and as you can see, of course, this is a responsive, guys. And here we go. So all the code, I put a link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and see ya.